Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Double One Radio Gamescast. It's episode number 61. We've been going way too long. Many say that we should have been cut off in the first week, but, you know, we're still here. So, I don't know what that says about us or the people that listen, but hey. Alright, this week, as always, I'm your host, Ryan, joined by my lovely cohort of co-hosts, Brett.
Hello.
Wyatt.
In the basement.
I'm one of those people where I'm like, we just shouldn't have passed go, to be honest with you.
And Alex.
I've sealed my fate and I'm packing his Carl now.
No.
Just the intros, though.
I can't imagine why people say those things about us.
Yeah,
I can't
have no
imagine
clue.
why, Alex. No clue. Nothing. Nothing comes to mind.
I don't know why anyone could ever possibly hate our show. All right.
No.
We've got a packed show today because we're getting a thing soon. We're kicking off with Summer Games Fest and E3.
A thing.
Ooh, a couple of things actually. But unlike last year, we have E3. It is still going to be all digital, so we'll be getting all the announcements the same as everyone else. Confusingly, there's still registration on E3, and I don't exactly know what it's going to do. I don't think it actually does anything, but it says registration opens on June 3rd, and I don't know why. I'm legitimately confused as to what will happen if you register for E3. So,
Wyatt, I can't stop it.
There.
I'm sorry. I can't stop it.
look, Brett's just summoning a demon, so...
No, he's having a rave. He's having a socially distanced
My
rave.
green screen is breaking.
And
Oh,
soon,
no.
every last one of our people who are of epilepsy will be having a rave as well.
No.
All right. Back on track, everybody. We got a show to produce. Great. I'm glad no one found that amusing at all. Except for me. So before we get into E3 shenanigans, we're going to go over some news from this week. There's some interesting stuff that popped up. We got, following in the wonderful history of games now lowering their file sizes, aside from Warzone and anything Call of Duty related, Microsoft Flight Sim is now half the size. Less than half the size, actually.
Whoa.
It's 80
From
gigabytes
what to
instead of
what
170.
That is actually pretty cool.
That's a sizable
What do
decrease, and it might convince me to try the game. Or the
I wonder what they
simulator.
put in the hydraulic press.
Mm.
Yeah, they just had the hydraulic press channel take a whack at it.
Finally.
Yep. We were really
They
just
also
waiting
do
for
video compression on the side.
that. Alright. Randy Pitchford, our good old friend in Gearbox, put out a tweet. Now, thankfully, this news story has nothing to do with Randy Pitchford, aside from the fact that he put out the tweet, which is good news or bad news first. Good news, an update for Borderlands 3 has been prepped for release, which includes full cross-play support across all platforms.
That's
Bad
right.
news, for certification, they were required by the publisher to remove cross-play support for PlayStation consoles.
What?
So,
Well, because
so it's
Sony is cool.
So it's just Microsoft
Yep.
crossplay then.
basically PC and Xbox, which is better than nothing by a long deal. And this is obviously like not Gearbox's fault.
No.
This is 100% on Sony. I none of us like this.
For once, it's not Gearbox's fault or Randy's fault. It's a
Incredible.
No. It's all Randy's fault somehow.
miracle.
Find a
It
way.
just loops back around to being Randy's fault.
No, PlayStation did it just to spite Randy and literally no other reason.
Yeah,
Their fault.
it's not like a lot of other games have had this exact same thing, but it seems like Randy
Yeah.
Pitchford is probably one of the few people, and Gearbox being one of the few studios that are in a position where they can actively like tweet about this being bad and probably still be fine with Sony, because it's probably more of a loss for Sony to lose Gearbox than it is for Gearbox to lose Sony.
Mm.
I think that's legitimately the case here. So, yeah, Sony has not made a response to this. I think, as expected, it'd be a little odd if they did. It is still just the kind of thing that, like, now that we're actually hearing what's causing this sort of thing, it's just sad. It makes me sad that we have to get
Pretty
to
scummy.
this.
It's the one feature that I've been so happy that we're starting to see like across all multiplayer games, because it's something that because I have a lot of friends on a wide array of platforms, and so whenever it's like, oh, we're all playing, um, what
Sea
we're
of
all playing Call of
Thieves,
Duty or whatever, and
Call
we
of
all
Duty.
want to, yeah, and we all just want to, kind of
We've done it
align
with Halo a
and
couple of
play one thing
times. It's
together.
been super fun.
Yeah.
Like crossplay is one of those things that like theoretically in a competitive environment you might have downsides, but the reality is the majority of game players are nowhere near the competitive level where it's gonna influence their ability to play a game. Like they just want to play the game. So
the top percent
let
of
people
people
play
that's
games
going to
together.
notice the difference, they already have their like group that
ideal
they play
setup,
with.
their ideal environment.
Yeah,
It's not really affecting them very much. So
And plus, in every case, or in most every case, as far as I'm concerned, it's you have the option to just no. I just want to play with the people that have the same kind of control input that I do. You can.
I mean, that's the best
control
of both worlds. Just have an opt-in systems where you can be like, hey, I don't want to play with people on console, or I don't want to play with people on keyboard. So that way you can have that switch. Yeah, it's just sucky that Sony is doing this. Is basically the gist of the argument, and we don't really know if anything's gonna come out of this. I would assume no. I think Sony's just gonna kind of ignore it. Probably the best move for them, but it sucks for consumers, and especially because Borderlands is such a cooperative franchise that you can't play it with your friends on other platforms. So we're perpetuating console wars and tribalism from like 20 years ago at this point, which is
well, and especially
wild.
especially in Borderlands case, because they have a lot of features to try and make sure everyone's playing together. Like they have that whole I forget exactly what they call it, but they have
like
that
level
system where, like,
syncing.
even if you're at different levels, everyone can still play the same missions, and everything is scaled to each person individually within the same game, which is nuts, and it's such a cool feature. So they
Elder
obviously
Scrolls
put in
Online
the
is
work.
like an MMO that does the same thing, where all the content is scaled to like a uniform level based on your level, which like some people argue takes away from progression, but you gain so much by having that feeling of like you can walk in any direction and explore. You can play with any.
You
want to
play with your friends. That's the
exactly
point.
Like removing barriers of people playing with their friends is always, I think, a better thing.
I can imagine for some of the developers at Gearbox, it must be kind of heartbreaking where they
This has to
obviously put in the
suck.
work. Yeah, they obviously put in the work to have everyone play with each other, and then just to have it just stonewalled, like it just sucks.
Yeah,
So.
it's just a situation that's sucky. There's not really any way around this. So we talked a little while ago about a little game engine called Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine 5 is now officially available in early access. Available to consumers. People have packaged the Valley of Ancients demo and played it on their machines and seen the enhancements and all that. It's not production ready, so the build that would be used to make a game. There's probably still some bugs with major systems and whatnot, but it is available for prototyping and tinkering and messing with new systems. Impressions have been very good so far. I love to see more game engines getting some proper support, especially because Unreal is such a big player. 5's got a lot of really cool features that I think are going to help tons of game devs, especially their like LOD stuff, where you can have. Normally, you'd have to like create individual LODs unless you're using a different system of handling like level of detail models, so models further away or lower detail and not taking up as many resources. But now it does it all that for you. So lots of nice things. Just removing the tedious tasks that people would have to do is always fun. So excited to see that.
I will not miss having to do a high poly, low poly, lower poly, much lower poly, cube.
It's always horrendous. Especially when you have to re-import the same file like 6 times. It's rough.
Yeah.
All right. Look, we've talked about Cyberpunk. I think we all regret the state of that game at launch. It's probably the best word. So does Sony still, because apparently CD Projekt, I think, has sent their build off for cert and is just waiting for Sony's approval. Sony's approval has not happened yet, and this news announcement was from 6 days ago, so it may not be happening anytime soon.
Oof.
I just imagine it's a bunch of people at a party, and there's that one guy that you don't want at the party. They're like, "Oh crap, guys, turn down the music, Cyberpunk's at the door. Everyone quiet down."
Yeah, and Cyberpunk also got a new game director. That's probably the bigger Cyberpunk announcement, but CD Projekt is in a state right now. We're gonna probably let that situation stabilize a little bit after a slew of people leaving and whatnot, and staff changes. So hopefully It's in a
It
good
reminds me
point.
a lot of BioWare situation where they're
Yeah.
just kind of losing really important key people left and right, which is always what you want
Of
to
course.
have happen.
Oh,
Yeah.
those are the magic words.
Because Cyberpunk lost the quest director, and the quests were one part of the parts of the game that was amazing. So it's one of the situations where they're just like they're losing some of the best people on the team because of this launch situation, presumably because of the financial things that went on of the execs taking a large bonus and not giving the people that made the game a bonus. It's kind of situation that's very hectic.
Well, sounds fine to me. What's the problem?
What's the problem?
What's-
Of course.
What's wrong with that, Ryan?
That's exactly like something, Activision or Ubisoft would do. That doesn't seem wrong at all to me.
I mean, it was the higher level producer people that really made that game work.
Yep.
It was all in them.
All there didn't touch the code at all. Snapped their fingers and it worked.
Putting in the
Yep.
man hours really nose to the grindstone in it.
Oh yeah.
And
As-
speaking
as
of CD
is-
Projekt Red, their Q1 profits have missed their mark. So not doing as hot financially either.
Shocker.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
All right. Y'all ready to get into the proper Summer Games Fest vibes?
I
In
mean,
the words of SpongeBob SquarePants,
No.
yes.
Stop.
All right. Well,
he did say that.
you can wait because we have an announcement to do.
Oh,
Now, or not an announcement, a fun little mini game. We'll call it award. We're gonna guess a thing. This is an award that's gonna be delayed gratification to whoever wins. So all four of us are gonna come up with a guess for the name of the Sonic project that was unveiled at the Sonic team that did not have a name. They just showed an image of Sonic running through a forest, and then some like moon runes appeared on the ground, and then it faded to black. There's
Yeah,
no
that was
name.
their big reveal.
That was their
Wait, is
big
this-
reveal.
this is a new game.
We have no idea what this is. we
I
we
already
don't
said
know what
moon
this
runes?
was.
I already know.
It might Sonic Colors was the game they announced, but they added this image of just runes. Moon runes is the best way I can put it. I'm trying to find an image, but I can't find it fast enough, so you guys can look it up on your own if you want. But there's very little information to go on for this.
See, I
Don't need to look at it.
I looked at almost every live stream that's happened so far except for this one because it's Sonic and I can't be
Look,
asked.
literally all you need to
do it.
know is that Sonic ran through a forest in a circle, and then it zoomed out to the sky, looking down at the ground, and some moon runes appeared, and then it faded to black.
Oh,
that
so
was
it's a
it.
Sonic game.
It's a Sonic game. What's the title gonna be? I'm throwing my hat in the ring. Sonic Adventure 3.
Sonic Unleashed.
Ooh.
Give it to us.
Ooh.
I think that would be the smartest thing for them to do because I can't
Would
think of
it?
a single I can't think of a single anytime I've seen a video with Sonic in it, I can't think of a single video that hasn't had a comment about we need Sonic Adventure 3 somewhere in the comment section.
This might.
So-
It could also be a project that's completely not a video game. This might be like the second movie or something incredibly silly like
Oh my
that as
God.
well. We have no idea. If there is an idea out there, I'm not looking it up because I don't care about Sonic's.
Looking at the
weird
footage,
moon
this
runes.
does not look like the movie.
It looks like nothing, Wyatt. It doesn't look like anything.
Yeah.
It really
treated
does
this
look
as
like
their big
nothing.
announcement.
What this is confirmed to me is that Sonic has legs and he has shoes on dem feet. I think that's all I
Yep.
can really.
Groundbreaking.
He runs. Boy runs.
Oh, there's some kind of nice purple blue digital effect going on, which is always great.
Camera exploded. Would you look at that?
Oh, Brett's camera
Oh.
exploded.
The thing that I said would happen happened. Let me see if it'll come back. I know it
doesn't come back.
destroys, it obliterates everything.
Well,
on
actually,
your
it
end.
keeps our layout the same. It just makes me you and Wyatt Alex. So
That's fine.
yeah,
Does that make me Wyatt then?
yeah. You're also Wyatt.
Huh.
You
That's
know?
the biggest insult
is
of all.
it back to normal now?
It's back to normal now. Yeah. No,
Okay,
it's not
thank
as
God.
fragile as it seems. It's so long as we have the same number of people, the overlay works. All right. So I put Sonic Adventures 3. What does everyone else think? It can be a wild name. Their latest games were called Forces and Colors. So
Why did I raise my hand? Sonic Unleashed 2.
all right.
Ooh.
Good.
I'm gonna go absolutely wild and I'm gonna go with Sonic R Remastered.
Okay.
Oh, okay. God, I'm trying to think of like a Sonic title of like one that would be like a sequel.
Pick a noun and put it after the word Sonic, and you'll probably be in the right ballpark.
Sonic. That's what I'm gonna call it. It's called Sonic.
Sonic.
Chili dogs.
You know what?
No,
I don't put it
Sonic,
past the Sonic.
Sonic colon Sonic.
What if it's just Sonic squared?
Yeah.
You know, if any of those are correct, I'm giving Wyatt the win for that. Just
DMC Sonic.
I legitimately can't put it past the Sonic team. They might do it. They might have the gumption. You know
what would be hilarious? What would be hilarious if, like, say this came out this year, right? They call it Sonic 21.
That would be
and
hilarious.
It was some sort of like anniversary Sonic 06 or something, and they called it Sonic 21. Wouldn't that be great?
Well, it's coming out in 2022. That's what the day at the end of it said.
Oh, okay, Sonic 22.
Sonic 22, yes.
Well, we don't even know if it's coming out 2022 or they're just going to announce more in 2022. That might be what it means.
Or another pandemic might happen, and they might have to push
might
it back.
might get Sonic running on some water next year
With some water runes.
But let's not get too crazy here. Let's not jump the hedgehog here.
It's time to commence the hype fest, everyone. I hope you're all ready. All right,
so ready.
Peak hype. We've already commenced the hype.
Sonic was the start. There's some other pre-E3 announcements that we can kind of talk about or showcases. So Wyatt and I already did a Far Cry 6 gameplay reaction reveal thing of the thing they showed. I do have to call out Ubisoft in this for doing what I think is perhaps the dumbest way to do a gameplay reveal that we've ever seen, where the time they gave us started a 2-minute timer. That was like their Ubisoft timer that went all the way down to 0, and then a 30-minute timer popped on screen of just B-roll of like Far Cry concept art and images. And why we were live, just like sitting here looking at this, like, what is happening?
We were convinced for a second that the timer was going down. The stream was actually starting, and that was just like a stream timer that was going down because it would be like
maybe it would be like a 30-minute presentation, and they're just starting it. Nope.
And I was like, wait, why would they put the counter in the top left? Why bother?
That's so dumb. Oh my god.
So we waited an additional 30 minutes for a 10-minute presentation. It was one of the.
I'm not gonna complain. I got to play more Biomutant in that half an hour, so I'm pretty happy. But
I didn't have anything better to do with my time, but still, Ubisoft, come on, be accurate with your times. Yeah, Far Cry 6 gameplay looking good though. It looks relatively final, which is nice, especially because the game's coming out fairly soon.
I think the two big takeaways for both of us when we were watching it is the environment. They're going back to a tropical environment, and not
with an
only
urban
is it
area.
Going to be, that's what I was going to say, is that it's going to have some like tropical sort of environments to it, but also some like urban cities and stuff like that, which looks great. And also the weapons look wacky, and I am so
wacky,
here for
very DIY, very.
They
fun.
had a CD launcher that played the song of the CD that was in the launcher, and then it would just shoot and then keep playing the song again. It was great.
It almost felt like Far Cry's version of Saints Row weapons, which I love.
Flamethrower. They also have some interesting
like fireworks
Destiny.
launcher.
They had a Destiny style zoom out to third person for like this ultimate attack or whatever, which seemed kind of funky.
Which we still aren't 100% sure if that was just a cinematic thing or not.
Because this was a gameplay reveal in
but
that
we saw
they're showing
no
very
UI.
curated snippets with no UI.
Any UI.
Nope.
No UI. The gameplay looks solid, and like the no UI, I think is just them being cinematic. I don't think it's like they're hiding anything. But I want to see that UI. We might see some at E3. And
I would like to also congratulate them on bringing back a voiced protagonist that seems like they'll actually have stake in the story. It's wonderful.
Get our male or female protagonist choice. They're voiced.
Because 5, I said it in the stream, I'm going to say it again. 5 silent protagonist drove me nuts, and I hated it.
You also get a disabled wiener dog, and that is...
Yes. Named Churro.
I didn't know
that
name
saves it.
Disabled
I think
his name is wheels on the back.
Wheels on the back legs.
It kind of
so cute.
dragged itself. It was great. Also an alligator in like a Hawaiian shirt. from what I remember, or like a button-up shirt.
It was a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks very fun. It looks like a lot more interesting to play than Far Cry 5 did. As much as like I know Wyatt liked Far Cry 5, and I liked the gameplay, but just bounced off of the setting, and it wasn't that out there. It was a very enjoyable experience though, and I'm looking forward to 6's new additions.
Yeah. And the other thing I noticed, I brought this up a lot too, is that it seems like there's a lot more like character and personality. Like for instance, Far Cry's always had these like, whenever you heal yourself, there's always a first person animation of you like wrapping a bandage around your arm or something. Here it's like, oh, we're gonna smoke a cigar and cauterize a wound with it, which is just
awesome.
this awesome bit
So
of like
fun.
personality that I love
Metal.
so much. I freaked out when I saw it. I was like, that's great.
It
That's
really
so
feels like they
cool.
let the Far Cry team cut loose for this one and just do what they wanted, which I think is great. Like,
And I did want to mention
very
that
fun.
because it always seems like we're gonna keep things semi-serious in Far Cry, and then DLC we're just gonna go insane and have all this wacky stuff like Blood Dragon, or that one where there was like a movie producer that was trying to like pitch a movie, and you were like the actors in the movie and stuff. It looked really cool. A lot of crazy stuff, but it seems like they're going more goofy than normal, which I'm totally fine with.
Still having a serious story though. Like Giancarlo Esposito looks great as the villain.
Perfect
doing a lot of interesting stuff.
villain, perfect actor for like a Far Cry villain. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
They always have
Did a
good
great job.
villains.
This is jumping ahead of it, but I wonder what the DLC will be. You guys mentioned the more wacky.
I'm
Hope
betting
they bring the
I'm betting
arcade back.
zombies. I think they're gonna do zombies again because we have the decaying urban environment.
I hope they bring back the Far Cry 5 arcade, because it was this crazy thing where it was basically user-created content with Far Cry 5 assets that people could make.
That was actually what I had more fun doing than the actual campaign of Far Cry 5 is the arcade. And the tools were great. Like it was a super well-made level design tool. A little creation
and it was
tool
built
for
right
consumers.
into the world too, because it was literally just these like arcade cabinets that was set up all around the open world. So if you wanted to go and play some like user made stuff, you just went to an arcade cabinet and you signed in and you did all this stuff. It was so cool.
Yeah.
So I would be very disappointed if they didn't bring that back, especially with all these crazy new weapons.
All right, staying on theme with our first-person shooters, Dying Light 2 got some more gameplay footage. Again, quote-unquote gameplay footage. We did see some UI intermittently, but still not a lot of direct gameplay. They did a little showcase of it. They had a lot of discussions with developers, which was nice. We got to hear a lot of thought behind the game. It seems to be shaping up. Release date is December 7th, so still a ways to go, but it's coming out soon. So, which is nice to hear after the troubled kind of development it's had of losing a lot of people. Chris Avalon was involved for a while and then left the project at some point, so a lot of odd involvement. But the game is shaping up. They got the parkour system in, and really, I think that's all that Dying Light really needs to succeed. So,
well, a good melee combat, I would say.
Oh yeah, and of course the melee combat looks great as well. But
where you feel the crunch in your controller of, okay, this is flesh, this is muscle, that's bone.
What they didn't talk about at all, and this has always been a big part of Dying Light and Dead Island as well, which is what they worked on before. They didn't talk about crafting at all. They didn't talk about like mods. For
they
and stuff.
talked about crafting in the term of weapon creation, of that you don't have any guns in this one, at least not like pure guns. You're going to be doing a lot of DIY style weapons, so kind of in that style of Far Cry 6. But yeah, we haven't seen an actual crafting system. It's possible by this point we have, and we just haven't seen, like Wyatt and I just haven't seen that trailer, because they did release some post trailers after the fact that have been going up around the time that we're recording this. So we're missing something, but.
And I am concerned because Techland, they're not small, but they're not like the biggest developer around with the the biggest money bags, and what they're trying to.
There was some major scopes creep with Dying Light 2.
Oh yeah, I mean it's this whole thing of like, oh, certain decisions you make in the story will change the open world. Like they were showing, oh, if you make certain decisions, it'll flood a certain part of the open world. Like the crazy stuff conceptually speaking. So I'm a little worried that maybe they overscoped, and obviously that's why there's been so many delays. Hopefully it pans out. But whenever I see a developer that's not, they're not small indie, but they're not, Ubisoft either, and they're trying to pull off something this big, it's always a little concerning. I'm optimistic, but it's definitely a little concerning.
Yeah. Agree. It's definitely a game I would say watch for reviews on, not pre-order, because there's been a lot of intermittent fiascos at Techland about this game. Nothing too concerning, but a lot of like people leaving, people that were involved in the project just not being involved. Most of them
Raises
were like
an eyebrow.
Techland employees, but stuff like Chris Avalon leaving midway through the project is a little bit concerning. I think they did say that he left because his work was basically done, but it's hard to know if that's actually true or not.
That's the weird thing though. It's like if you state like, oh, his work is done. It's like, yeah, but things in development change, and if his work
scenario
needs to change,
writing
then you would want
probably
him back.
won't.
Well, I mean, it depends on when he left though. Like in terms of what the state of the project was.
He
in
left
when
last year,
Like,
so the theory I think at the time was that he had written the full thing, and it was mostly up to the developers if they could achieve that. Now, whether or not they did is the kind of the big question mark, as well as whether or not they had to do rewrites after the fact. So, yeah, a lot of question marks with this game that we just don't have a lot of background footage on. I'm expecting there might be like some looks behind the scenes after the game comes out, but until December, I think we'll be sitting pretty. So, all right, we had another franchise that starts with D getting some announcements. Dragon Quest, not Dragon's Quest.
Yes.
Dragon Quest.
we
got a 12 announcement.
This one.
Dragon Quest 12, Flames of Fate. It's happening. We don't have any footage of the game, but we have a footage of a logo. So it's in production. That's
trailers for trailers,
fashion.
baby. Trailers for trailers.
Confirming we're getting a next game. We will likely see more of some Dragon Quest related things at E3. So we likely have more on the horizon for that. The big other announcement, Dragon Quest 3 is getting an HD 2D remake, which is, I think, very exciting. This is the kind of style I would love to see more games come out in, of this HD 2D style. And for people who don't know what HD 2D is, that's things like Octopath, Project Triangle Strategy, the new one. So very exciting.
Off the tongue.
And it looks great.
I think it would be nice to see more retro RPGs remastered in a way like that, because it's not like it doesn't look like crazy, but it seems like it would be doable. You know, like it's not like you're not like putting everything into 3D and changing everything to be like super modern, but like you're polishing it off so that people who might not, think that it's too appealing might look at it and be like, oh, well, that looks snazzy. Especially with there being some, and this is just rumors, but like rumors of like a Final Fantasy 1-6 compilation. That would be pretty cool if it looked like that. Just saying.
Definitely. Yeah, I would really love to see, especially Final Fantasy 6 remade in that style. I think would be phenomenal. The game would look wonderful, especially because like 6 and Chrono Trigger have great sprite work. They really wouldn't need to change any of it. It would just be the environments, and I think that would be phenomenal. But yeah, this is exciting. We also know they are working on Dragon Quest X offline. So for people who don't know, Dragon Quest X is an MMO. Just like Final Fantasy 14 and 11. I believe this game doesn't really exist in the West. I could be wrong in that it's just before our time and it was on some consoles. So yeah, it came out a while ago on the Wii. And we just got discontinued support. Okay, yeah, so Dragon Quest X has never released outside of Asia in actual official release. And they're doing Dragon Quest X offline, which is exciting. You know, I always like to see MMOs not dying when they're dead, you know?
So wait. So it was an MMO, right? I'm assuming. And then this is called offline. So is it just
single player version
without other people?
It's probably going to be changes. Like, I'm betting a ton of balance changes.
I'm trying to think, is there a game that's done that before where it's just, the MMO's offline?
There are games that have had fans do that. I don't think there's a game that's official, and I don't think a game that has as much of an emphasis on story as most, like, Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy MMOs does. Like, that's the big thing I would love to see when, like, 14 and Final Fantasy 11 die, is some kind of offline version of them that is tailored to be single player instead of multiplayer, and just prolonging the MMO lifespan and also giving it players that are more interested in just the single player content a way to do that. Especially in these story heavy games.
After playing 7 Remake and hearing you talk about it a lot, I would be interested in like a single player because I'm really not looking for an MMO right now. But if they did some kind of single player version,
the bonkers thing with 14 is 14, the newest expansion, the one that came out last, not the one that's coming out soon, is playable basically fully single player because they added what's called the trust system, where your NPC allies from your like the main quest group can be called in to do your dungeons with you, and they have like dialogue lines, almost like Mass Effect style of running through a dungeon with your NPC allies. It's super cool.
I still have to get there though, right?
Yeah, you have to get there.
Progress through everything else.
You have to progress through everything else, and that's the thing. You do got to progress through that, not single player. The thing that blows my mind is they do have AI for every dungeon in the game up until that point, because there's something called adventurer squadrons where you command AI party members and go in with yourself to farm dungeons, essentially, which is how you can level a lot of characters. If you don't want to interact with people and you're doing your DPS character, you can just go do dungeons with your adventurer squadron, and it's just a group of AI that does all your stuff for you. They got goofy names, things like that. You can customize them. So there's tons of like customizability, and that AI exists. It's wild. So I wouldn't be surprised if they are doing that. I think they've expressed interest in doing it across the rest of the game, but the issue is that some of the main story missions will like say, "Oh, we need you and your adventurer friends to go do this." So there'd be some rewrites that would have to be done to kind of adapt it. I wouldn't put it past them though, because the 14 team is maniacal. After Soken's lie.
The best word.
Yeah, wild game. All right. Now that we've covered, we missed. I almost forgot about Horizon Forbidden West. I'm not going to give you the opportunity to correct me, Wyatt. Horizon Forbidden West, we got proper gameplay.
Yep, it happened.
Looks really good. I avoided watching the entire thing because I haven't finished Zero Dawn yet, and don't want to accidentally get spoiled. But
you can safely watch the whole thing.
I watched most of it until people started talking. That's when I stopped.
Oh yeah, then the gameplay. I mean that was the end of it anyway. You didn't miss any gameplay.
Okay, great.
You're good.
Yeah, looks really good.
Yeah, it looks like Horizon. I think the big thing that they showed off that I'm really interested in is that there's a lot more traversal. So they added a grappling hook. They did it. Beautiful.
Yes.
There's a fully.
They also
you can go,
added some cool more melee options. I just want to throw that out there. It's more melee.
You can add on these different attachments to your melee weapon, which is cool. You can swim underwater and you have like a little breathing, like a Phantom Menace style like breathing thing. Yeah, so you can kind of swim underwater, and it seems like you also have to take into account like currents in order to push you in the right direction and stuff, which looks pretty cool. All the monsters obviously look fantastic. They have a giant elephant, people riding on a giant elephant. They also talked about how there's more creatures that you can control in order to ride them, so it's not just like what are they called, striders? Seems like there's more types now, which is cool. Yeah, seems like nothing too like drastic or out there yet. More of like a refinement, which I'm totally fine with. So
yeah,
I loved Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm still really looking forward to Forbidden West. But there's the one little, and also just completely personal problem that I have, that I'm kind of over water traversal right now, so I'm worried that just might drive my interest away.
I think everyone is now permanently over water levels.
Yeah, I think that's the gamer thing now.
It's like, I don't want to swim. I don't want to swim in a video game. I don't want to have my movement slowed down by water.
I will happily fish for 80 hours, but
as soon as I gotta put a toe in that water, nah.
No.
I will say, I think Uncharted 4 handled underwater sections fairly well.
There's going to be so much crap that I have to look for under there for the secrets and things, and I don't want to look for treasure underwater. I'm tired of it. I don't want to do it. I'm tired of it.
I don't want to do it because that game has big things in it, and big things when they're in water are scary. and I don't want to deal with that.
I don't want to deal with
They start adding big sea monsters and stuff to like Minecraft, and I just don't want to play anymore because I'm gonna have to go over that ocean and I'm going to start crying in the middle of playing Minecraft because there's gonna be some sort of large creature that will obliterate me.
They had crocodiles in Zero Dawn. They're gonna have like the Loch Ness monster or something so much worse, like the
thank you.
leviathans.
Dude, we're gonna see some like trimmer
uh,
worms underwater. I'm betting we're seeing trimmer worms underwater.
I don't want it.
God,
It's gonna be horrifying.
About leeches.
I love it.
I just hope, like above all else, because I know a lot of people liked Horizon's story. For me, there are a lot of spots where the story just completely, like the pacing just screeched to a halt.
I mean, yeah, the thing to remember
for me as well.
Horizon is one of the first AAA open world, like big push for narrative open world games. It was one of the very first, so it feels like that now. But yeah, it is.
That's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it.
At the time, I think it was a lot more impressive than it is now, but still a lot of fun.
And it wasn't, it wasn't bad. It was mostly just like pacing was all over the place, and then also just the voice acting was weird, which I think we
there's a few.
It was the voice acting, and it was also the facial animation that was really.
Which I was looking for that when people started talking in this little gameplay snippet. I was like, okay, I got to get ready for this weird, stilted, like Star Wars prequel-esque dialogue, and it was fine. Actually, it seemed pretty like natural for the most part. So
turns out 4 or 5 years, we get a lot of advancements in tech, especially related to facial animation and dialogue. All right, before this becomes the Zero Dawn podcast, let's take a look at the actual confirmed E3 conferences so far. So, just so people listening know, our plan for these next 2 episodes. This episode, we're going to kind of go over our expectations and some of the things we want to see, as well as what actual shows we have confirmed times for and whatnot. And the other studios that are confirmed to be there but we don't have times from. Just kind of pre-hype festival sort of attitude for E3 and Summer Games Fest.
Pre-hype.
Next week, we're going into a gauntlet with each other, and we're going to create tier lists of the conferences that we want to see. And then whoever gets closest to what our final tier list agreed upon by the group once we have seen these announcements will get some reward. It hasn't been decided yet, but some reward, or everyone who fails will have to do something. That might be more fun. But
punishment.
Punishment show. All right. Let's get started on looking at the actual schedule for E3 so far. Big caveat here, we don't have a lot of the schedule. E3 starts on June 12th. There's some stuff happening beforehand and some stuff happening afterwards. But June 12th is the official show starting, and that goes until June 15th, that Tuesday, so it's Saturday to Tuesday. And that's the time for the actual main show. Not everything that's going to be at the main show has been announced yet, so we know a bunch of studios that are participating haven't announced their times for the showcases and whatnot. A lot of that's because these are all going to be like pre-recorded events, most likely, and not live. There could be an exception to that, but it seems like the general format is most likely going to be a lot of directs, essentially, from different companies. The first one that we have had announced is the Ubisoft Forward is going to be Saturday, June 12th at 8 p.m. So we're getting a fun little old Ubisoft thing. Who's excited for Ubisoft?
Okay, my biggest Ubisoft question. Do you think we're going to see any Beyond Good and Evil 2 this year?
I think we will get an affirmation that it is still happening. I don't think we're going to see it.
like another title card thingy?
Well, the thing a lot of people forget, we've seen Beyond Good and Evil 2 gameplay. We have seen it.
Very early.
With UI and everything, though. No, it had UI and everything.
It was
I thought it was just the airship trailer.
Well, it was very rough, though.
The thing that's weird about it, they showed it at like their own show in a weird time. It wasn't like part of a big show or anything.
Yeah.
But there is like 10-15 minutes of gameplay footage that exists for Beyond Good and Evil 2, and it looks decent. It just looks early production, and that was from about a year and a half ago, I think. So it's been a while, but we have seen gameplay. I'm gonna assume we're seeing something. Probably not the game itself, though.
We will see. we will see.
Especially considering they're still like hiring for Beyond Good and Evil 2. I think Beyond Good and Evil 2 is going to be at least another year away.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, which is a shame. I think this game's probably had a lot of, maybe not internal issues, but it seems like they didn't really know what they wanted it to be until pretty recently.
Well, the game has been in and out of development constantly. That's the other weird thing too. It's this thing where they're like, yeah, we're not working on it. No, we are. No, we're not. No, actually, wait, we are. It's very strange.
It's odd because we got like that big blowout 4 years ago, and then we've gotten almost nothing since, aside from like the smattering of gameplay.
That was a blowout after they said they weren't working on it.
Yeah, so it was very strange.
Several years before.
You know what? I'd prefer that over a constant hype fest.
Yeah.
For it to, possibly be delayed 3 times.
I would generally agree, but it's Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's a game that's pretty important to a lot of people, so I think it is the kind of thing where you do want to keep people informed about what's happening. And they just kind of haven't.
Not showing anything, and not even just talking about it or addressing it doesn't, maybe not to us, but to a lot of people, it doesn't always send the best message of like what's going on.
No, I would say to us as well.
Telling us about it.
I would say to us as well. I don't think any of us would disagree with that.
And no, yes and no. I mean, it's obviously case by case, but
I mean, with Ansel leaving the project and everything, I do think there's some warning signs with Beyond Good and Evil 2. Either way, what we saw of gameplay looks interesting to me, and they were talking about like this bounty hunting open world kind of thing. Pretty cool. I don't fully believe that they're going to deliver. I think this is a case where they've already significantly overpromised, and we're not going to get what they said we were going to get at the start, but it's probably still going to be pretty fun.
Ubisoft overpromising a project?
I think this is going to be like Biomutant, legitimately. I think it's going to be, it got overpromised. It's going to come out.
So that means I'm going to love it.
It'll still be fun. I think you will love it. Why?
You'll love it even more because it has the Ubisoft logo on it, and there you go. That's all. That's all you need to drive it from a 90 to 100.
Wow, that was rough. That was harsh.
I'm sorry for the low blow.
We got the Beyond Good and Evil 2 talk out of the way. We need to talk about other things at this show, because Ubisoft has a few other things happening. We might see Far Cry 6. We may not see very much. They might do like a little trailer and then not show any more, because they did just do the
I would like
reveal.
To see more game. I would like to see like actual gameplay. Like that was to hype up actual gameplay.
I think that the question just is going to be, do they have something else they want to show at E3 that's going to be a big announcement?
I don't think we're going to see anything Assassin's Creed related, because Valhalla just kind of came out, obviously.
Well, because we have, so before we talk about speculation, I want to go over the things that Ubisoft has in the cooker that we know about, which is namely the Prince of Persia remake. So I think everyone forgot about this because they announced it was going to be delayed to. It was supposed to release in January. It was delayed to March, and then got delayed indefinitely.
So never.
So I think it's still coming out. It's probably just going to be, I'm betting they're going to either shadow drop it at E3, which would be pretty cool, or they're going to announce at E3 that it's been a disaster and cancel it. Or maybe it'll release like a couple weeks after.
They're probably also going, you know what? They're going to open their show with whatever version of Just Dance. That's
of course. They always
crazy. Let's get the easy stuff out of the way.
They got to have a dance performance.
Has there ever been a cancellation announcement at E3?
No, I don't think so.
Probably in the Elden years. I would bet in the Elden years there were a few. Like, I don't think more recently.
All the streamers in Confetti come out, and it's like Beyond Good and Evil 2. Just the big
again
world premiere, and it's just a game being canceled.
And Ubisoft also has 2 Rainbow Six games that are in development that we haven't really seen any gameplay of. Parasite and Quarantine. I believe we saw gameplay of Quarantine, but Parasite is supposed to also exist.
What a beautifully timed release.
And is also supposedly releasing before the end of September. I think that's an outdated thing, because they didn't announce anything with COVID, so I'm assuming that release date got moved back. And just hasn't been announced yet because, global pandemic. But the Rainbow Six properties are still there. Hey, maybe they're going to come out swinging with a new Tom Clancy Splinter Cell.
Is there?
I was going to mention that.
Is there a Tom Clancy game for mobile, or was that a fever dream?
There is. Yeah. I think one of the Rainbow Six games is a mobile game. I'm not a mobile gamer, so I can't definitively say, but I know they have announced something, and I don't know if it's out yet. Yeah, general consensus is that the Star Wars game probably not going to show up.
Nope.
Outside of maybe a logo reveal, we might see a logo. Probably not going to be there.
I hate how logo reveals are just like a thing.
I
and
get
there's
it.
Gonna be like. There's gonna be like multiple 10-minute YouTube videos just like analyzing the sound echoing in the background. It's like, oh well, if you listen just in between the 2 and 3 second mark, there's a little bit of an echo from a blaster that could only be Boba Fett's blaster because it sounds like this. So that means he's in the game, or at least his gun is, and that means that it's taking place between this and this, and it's just like shut up.
Look, the wild thing is when
there's
Star Wars people say
Star Wars language, whatever it's called, on the wall. We're gonna be able to.
Someone is going to correctly guess every plotted point in this game before it releases. I can guarantee.
And everyone will laugh at them
just because of monkeys on typewriters.
Yes,
someone's gonna guess it.
There are 45 to an hour-long videos, multiple videos by different YouTubers on the Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh yeah,
announcement.
Hey, some of them are actually pretty good.
Surprised.
It's like following crackpot theories. I love it.
It's just like the Elden Ring community. They're making up their own lore before they even know anything about the game.
At this point, you have to.
Yep. Yeah, people are assuming it's also likely too early to get Assassin's Creed news of a new game. I'm betting we're going to see AC Valhalla DLC stuff, especially because the new DLC got some pretty good reception. Apparently it's a sizable expansion. So
speaking of DLC, they've already announced an update, a free update to Watchdogs Legion. I don't know if you heard about this. It's something everyone's been asking for. A zombie mode!
Hey, I'm down for that in Watchdogs Legion. I'm down for Zombie London, you know?
Yay!
I see.
Brett, get excited!
I'm not a huge fan of getting new random zombie games if they look unimaginative, but I'm always a big fan of just turning an open world game into a zombie game.
What they're saying is that it's kind of 4-player co-op, kind of Left 4 Dead-y, but it's also gonna have some kind of like roguelike element to it as well.
I'm down to see whatever crazy crackpot game mode they come up with.
I'm kind of into it because I want to see what like a Left 4 Dead style game would be like in Watch Dogs open world where you can hack everything and stuff
especially
like
with
that.
the randomized characters and all that. That might be a lot of fun.
That could be really interesting.
That's probably the roguelike element.
Yeah, what if they like give you a random character or something?
Or it's this really risky mode where you bring in your characters that you've already collected in the single player, and you have to like, okay, if they die, it's permadeath.
We need a way for them to die because you max out at 45. It's far too few. So we need a way for characters to just get killed so you can get more.
That would be cool. That would legitimately be kind of cool.
Because the main game is not risky enough in safe ways for your characters to die. You're either going to die to like a straight bullet.
There's also the mode where like, oh, they just get arrested.
Yeah, but if you die in that game, it's usually because of bad mechanics, not because of people actually killing you. It's like something hitting you, game bugging, something hitting you through a wall. You couldn't see an enemy on your map, stuff like that. It's very rarely dying to legitimate things, which sucks.
Yeah. I just wanted to let Brett know because I know he's very excited both about Watch Dogs and zombies. So I just wanted to let him know.
Yeah.
And Far Cry 6.
Listen, if I'm gonna attempt my attempt for this is I'm gonna boil these down to like E3 bingo style, like short little things. And my E3 bingo things for Ubisoft is that we're gonna get a Tom Clancy something, and we're gonna get a Ubisoft open world something.
Just
because
Dance.
Ubisoft and that'll be number 3. Just Dance something.
That's the free space.
Maybe they'll stop making Wii games finally, and they'll just be like, nah, we gotta move on.
Well, you get why they make Wii games is they don't have a Wii U version. It's kind of genius, actually.
And if you are going to play the next Just Dance game, you probably have a Wii from all the last ones anyway, so it makes sense.
And if you have a Wii U, just get the Wii version. It's probably
all right. We gotta move on. Yeah. We gotta move on while this Wii derailing just keeps happening. So the only other things on Ubisoft's plate that we might hear something about, there's rumors about a Mario Rabbids thing happening. Maybe a sequel to Kingdom Battle, maybe something else. Rumors that aren't very credible, so we don't know if that's happening or not. But
can I point out how crazy of a world we live in where you said we might be getting a Mario Rabbids style thing, and I'm actually kind of excited.
But I have to cut you off because we need to keep going.
Okay.
There's also Rayman still existing. So we might see that. But yeah, they're doing a full forward, so they've got something cooking. Maybe Prince of Persia would be nice to see.
They got a nice churro cooking. Oh wait, not the dog.
Don't cook the dog, Wyatt.
No, I meant the food.
Next, we got our big boy. I think this is probably the conference that most of us are going to be paying the most attention to, which is the Xbox and Bethesda showcase. So this is normally Xbox and Bethesda both do their own shows. This year, it's going to be a joint showcase, obviously, because the acquisition. I find it interesting they are headlining this as the Xbox and Bethesda showcase. That to me implies Bethesda's got some stuff cooking.
That would make sense.
Well, also Microsoft wants to show off their shiny new toy.
Exactly, but they could do that at just the Xbox showcase and have it be a power move, right? Of like, we're not even giving them the title credit. They're just part of us now.
Imagine if we didn't hear about this acquisition until E3, and
that would be
unleash all this crap.
It would break everyone. That would be a hype announcement too. It'd be wild.
That would be. I'm gonna call it. That would be a Keanu Reeves moment where they just invite out God Howard, and he's just like, "Sup, guys."
He's like, "Sup, guys." Here I am. All right.
So when I think of Xbox, immediately I'm wondering, are we going to see any new Grabbed by the Ghoulies? That is what I'm wondering first and foremost.
All right, I gotta stop the jokes because we spent too much time on the last show because of the jokes, so we gotta move on and talk about the show. Halo Infinite, safe bet.
Speaking of jokes.
Yeah, speaking of jokes, you know what? Breaking my own rule. Halo Infinite, we're gonna see more of it, almost guaranteedly. I mean,
yeah,
110%, and I'm excited because I want to see. Because I know they've been showing off screenshots and they've been working really hard.
They
on,
hunkered
the look
down
of the game,
and I want to see what the result of that is.
And they've been releasing. I don't know if they've done any recently, but I know that since they showed off gameplay, they've been showing off regular community updates on like things they're working on.
Yeah,
and it's all looking great. I mean, what stood out to me was like a lot of the armor designs they've been showing off have not been 343 Halo armor designs. The weird,
which I'm super excited about.
I will give them that.
Wait. Are you telling me that Master Chief has the possibility of being in something other than the Spartan armor?
No, well, this would be for like multiplayer or like just customizable stuff.
So this isn't the. This is the you pay $15 for the color purple deal.
Yeah,
I don't think they took that back. I think that is still a thing.
That maybe still exists. They responded like vaguely to it. Moving on, Bethesda's biggest showcase obviously right now is Starfield. So Starfield is super heavily rumored to be getting the actual like proper gameplay, maybe not gameplay, but like proper reveal of what the game is, and not just a logo and some footage.
Is anyone really like wondering? I mean, it's going to be a Bethesda game with a space theme.
Dude, I want to know. I want to know if we're going to be
Skyrim with anti-gravity.
Like, I want to know if this is going to be more along the lines of a proper space sim, or are we getting something like akin to like Bethesda's version of Mass Effect? Like, what is happening? That's what I'm curious about. 'Cause space is such a huge setting. Like, what is this going to be?
Is it still the case, or because I completely forget at this point? Does Starfield have its own engine?
No, nothing has its own engine. It's all with Bethesda. That doesn't really mean much because they're making improvements to their engine. It's not just this exact same thing over and over.
Improvements.
Look, we don't know, and there are benefits of like that means modders who know the engine from before know the engine now. So modding is still gonna catch off running.
I also seem to remember after Fallout 76 came out, and this was years ago, obviously, but I seem to remember them making some kind of statement that like, oh yeah, we're changing the way that we're using our engine for Starfield and Elder Scrolls.
That means literally nothing.
Something.
Literally nothing. That's marketing speak. We don't know what that. I think that's a direct response to people going, "Oh, they always use the same engine." The engine isn't necessarily the fault. I mean, the engine is the fault, but it's not using the same engine, even if it's a bad engine. If they're improving it, doesn't mean anything.
Comparing the engine that's used in something like Oblivion, and then comparing it to Fallout 76 is like comparing, like, it's basically comparing like Half-Life 2 to like Titanfall. Technically the same engine.
Yeah, wildly different.
Is it in any way recognizable in the back? No, not at all.
It's recognizable enough for people that are familiar with the tool set to still use it. And that's
but
the
like
goal.
if you play Titanfall, you would never know that it was technically a Source Engine game. Technically.
All right. So those are like the only confirmed announcements for Xbox and Bethesda, which is interesting because these are the Xbox has proven in the last few years we don't know what to expect. When they came out with the Devil May Cry 5 reveal, like they've come out with some wild stuff before of just games completely unrelated that aren't exclusive, just being there.
Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain is another example.
Yeah, they just might toss something in here. Hopefully Brett's camera survives, or else I'll become him.
Fine.
Dear God.
I'm trying not to draw attention to it, but it's very hard.
Look, Brett, if it fully breaks, just let me know and I'll hide the names. I can just do that so it doesn't break everything.
I think I need to invest in a new one that isn't garbage.
I'll just do that
going.
now.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. But generally, we don't know what to expect from this conference, which is exciting. There's a lot of rumors about a new Forza game, and we almost always see Forza at the show.
Yeah.
So I'd expect that. But the interesting thing this time is we're getting rumors of both Horizon and Motorsport, so we might see them both at the same time.
Oh, also Perfect Dark, mayhaps.
That's
because
true.
They did tease
the
Perfect Dark game.
This is true.
So that would be really exciting.
Definitely. Perfect Dark by the Hitman team, which I am... No, not Perfect Dark by the Hitman team. Perfect Dark, what was the team for that?
Was it the Hitman team?
No, the Hitman team is the James Bond
There was a 007.
Game. Right.
Yeah, James Bond game is Hitman team, which of course great fit. But
wait a minute. Yeah, who's doing the
Perfect Dark is another recognizable team that I can't remember the name of. Gears of War Coalition is also supposedly going to be showing something, but there's been rumors that Gears of War 6 is not happening, at least not being announced this year, and that the Coalition is working on a new IP. So
Perfect
we could see a new Coalition IP.
The developer for Perfect Dark is the Initiative.
Oh yeah, wasn't that a split off of the Coalition? I think it's a split off of some devs.
That's correct.
Yeah,
which is a good sign because look, I don't know anything about Gears of War, but I played Gears 5, and you know what?
It feels really good.
I may not have completely understood what was going on story-wise in that game all the time because I went in pretty cold, but that was a really fun game. That's a really fun game to play, so I think it's in good hands, at least conceptually.
Yeah. So, excited to see that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see... I'm wondering if we might get a little hint at a BioWare thing at the Xbox conference, because BioWare has not announced if they're going to be doing anything else. EA is doing a play event a month after E3. So we might get something there. We might get something. They may want to use the EA stage or the E3 stage. So I'd be curious if we see something EA related at the Xbox conference.
I would also like to
see a new IP.
No, I don't think new IP. I think it would be related to something they already have, and I think it would be a teaser to go watch the EA play live. I don't think it would be like an actual reveal.
If BioWare announced a new IP right now, I'd be terrified.
I would
be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I would get the popcorn ready.
Oh, yeah.
My point of view, I would just get ready to
100%.
laugh. But
oh, yeah. Also, we might see some new Hellblade related stuff, which I'd be pretty excited to see. Definitely.
I think for Microsoft's thing, we could see like they usually bundle a lot of indie things together, and I know they've kind of been keeping up a little bit with things like Sable and a couple other projects that they just like show little snippets of. Tunic, yeah. I could see them showing some actual release dates for those, since they're probably getting close to being done.
Definitely.
I mean, speaking of Coalition, do you think they might announce anything Gears related? Like, I know the Initiative.
I doubt it.
Probably obviously working on different projects. But.
So we have Jeff Grubb is another fairly reliable industry source, like Jason Schreier, not quite the same, but he has said that from what he's heard at the Coalition, they have too much else going on to be working on Gears right now. So
and
likely
do we not know? I'm assuming we don't know what those things are.
Exactly. So we would probably get an announcement of one of those things. It could be Gears related and not be Gears 6. But it doesn't seem like it'll be Gears 6. The other thing, my pipe dream, and it's somewhat realistic, but my pipe dream is we get Dragon's Dogma 2 announced at the Xbox conference because the director of Devil May Cry 5 said those were the two games he really wanted to do, was Devil May Cry 5 and Dragon's Dogma 2, and he really, really he had to choose one to start working on, obviously, so he chose 5 first. Dragon's Dogma 2 is now heavily rumored to be in full development, and I think that would be a great stage for it to make a showcase at, especially because he has a working relationship with Microsoft from the Devil May Cry reveal. Alternatively, we could see another Devil May Cry announcement because it's rumored that the team will be continuing without him doing Devil May Cry 6, focusing on a new set of characters, but characters that aren't Dante, essentially. And kind of passing the torch to the next protagonist of the series. So that's interesting. We might see something about that. I think it might be a little bit too early for that. 5 is still pretty new, especially with the pandemic hitting. But Dragon's Dogma, I want to see it.
I'm also curious if Rare's got anything going on.
Yeah, we haven't seen something from Rare in a while.
Oh, and didn't
Obsidian is also now Xbox.
I was just about to say, yeah, Obsidian. They might be showing off what's it called? Avowed?
Fable and Avowed are.
Fable and Avowed.
Fable is Playground Games. Avowed is Obsidian.
I would love to see something.
The rumor right now is that it's a little bit too close to the announcements of those games for them to really have anything new to show. Grounded might get something of the actual release.
Yeah. That's still in early access at the moment.
Yeah, it's doing really well. So I'm sticking it out for release. I want to see what the final state is.
Grounded's the Honey I Shrunk the Kids best.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
It's still
a survival game that I didn't hate. It's
only been in early access for around less than a year, I think, at this point, because it came out October last year. So yeah, it's still.
I thought it was fully released. That felt official to me, but
yeah, well, it felt good.
It's in a great state.
Yep.
The only issue I had with the game is that one kid that didn't like Brussels sprouts, and I was like, "How dare you?"
It was also very short. That was the biggest thing. Is the content ran out pretty quickly for a survival game.
No pun intended.
But it was all very high quality. So yeah, I would definitely expect to see something Obsidian. All right. Any last thoughts on the Xbox show? But you think Bethesda's going to come out swinging with any surprise announcements?
Do you think they're going to open with Halo? Or do you think they're going to close with Halo?
I say close.
Yeah,
I think close.
I would agree.
I think they have enough. They have enough things probably to show now to make it impressive closing.
I think they're gonna open with
impressive.
Hopefully,
boy.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna walk out on stage at the start, and then just start talking, and then they're gonna do like a cinematic trailer for some random game that's probably gonna be pretty cool. Then they'll bring out the big hitter, and then the finale will be Halo. Is my bet.
Yeah.
See, I just hope it's not a build from January. That's all we can.
Yeah, that's all I hope. At this point. All right.
As Ryan said earlier, like pipe dream is something about ES6, but I highly doubt there's going to be even
definitely
a whisper of that until months after Starfield has been released.
Yeah, I'm betting we start to hear about Elder Scrolls in the lead up to Starfield's release after the marketing cycle for Starfield.
That seems like that's the right timing, at least, like from a marketing perspective.
Get people excited for the next game people are already interested in Starfield.
Keep your momentum going. It's like, yeah.
So long as they can hit their deadlines. All right, Square Enix is our next up. And the Xbox show we know is going to be on Sunday, June 13th. We don't know. So the times I have are not in a time zone that I can convert right now. But they're at understandable times. And not all of them are final. In fact, the majority of them aren't final. So keep an eye on the E3 website for an actual official schedule to go up. We are doing this show a little bit earlier than I think would traditionally be done just because of scheduling stuff. So if we have updates next week on actual timing for these, we'll talk about it. But it's a little bit uncertain, especially because there's still 2 weeks to go until the show. So might see some more shifts and whatnot before then. We know Square Enix is doing a presentation. They're gonna do some fun things. Y'all ready? Y'all ready for some Square Enix?
I'm ready for the Avengers free-to-play announcement.
Oh yeah,
that's the only way to save that game.
I heard that recently their planned Loot 2.0 system got canned. So that's kind of fun.
Maybe that'll be the first cancellation announcement.
Well, because apparently
post-release cancellation.
Avengers made had huge financial costs for Square Enix, has returned basically none of it, and all of that money is just coming from Final Fantasy XIV, which is ridiculous.
You know what? Even with the Avengers fiasco, still like to hear something from them. Squeam me up.
Yeah. I want to hear Avengers talk. I want something that they're addressing the game, because I think Avengers is legitimately in a state where it could be good if they really hunker down and do the work, but I don't think it's going to happen. Legitimately, I don't think Square Enix has it in them. Not Crystal Dynamics. I think Square Enix specifically does not have the courage to do that.
And the thing is, can you really blame them? Because if it's brought them nothing but bad press, I really truly would not blame them.
It's all because of Square Enix's decisions, I know. I think it's nothing to do with Crystal Dynamics. Made a good combat system and fun characters, and then it was just massively dumped on with this horrendous free-to-play system. Not free-to-play, but like free-to-play-esque monetization and battle passes and just every single terrible monetization mechanic you can think of.
Which, it's not a big deal. That's just, the game.
Yeah. But I mean, you look at Crystal Dynamics as a company that's capable of making the Tomb Raider comeback, especially with Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I'm currently playing.
You can definitely tell.
Very good game.
Yeah.
And then this happens.
You're just like, huh?
You can definitely tell if it was just a single player, like co-op, action game, which is, I'm going to assume maybe, I'm not claiming, but I'm going to maybe assume that's what Crystal Dynamics wanted to do. It probably would have been pretty good.
I will still say the campaign has some horrendous dialogue at points, and as much as I love Kamala being a character and her enthusiasm, she's really not a good main character. And she just really doesn't have the drive forward and the motivations to be the protagonist.
The scene that I keep seeing when people talk about like the dialogue and stuff is at the very beginning when Kamala's like talking with Thor, and I'm like, this is like a genuinely cute little moment between like a fan and like Thor.
God.
Like that's kind of cool. Like it's a nice little moment. So it's like if the game has a lot of those, then I don't know, but.
However, if those nice little moments are happening during combat where it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. All right. So Square Enix has, funnily enough, we'll keep on the track of Marvel properties. Square Enix is apparently making a Guardians of the Galaxy game as well, which is supposed to be in development at Eidos Montreal. So the devs of Deus Ex, who are also working on assisting the Avengers team.
Don't ruin.
I think this game might be canceled. Legitimately, I think this game might have been shadow canceled.
You remember the last Guardians of the Galaxy game?
I didn't even know they were working on a Guardians game.
Well, because it's not been properly announced. I think it's been just people have known about it for a while, but it's not.
This is a rumor mill sort of deal?
I don't think it's a rumor mill. I think it was like officially announced in a financial report or something, but it's not.
Really? I feel like I would have heard about that. That's crazy.
Well, it's because we haven't seen any footage of it. We don't know what it looks like. We don't know what kind of genre it is.
No, but like people make big deals out of like PlayStation 5 patents and stuff like that. Like I'm just kind of surprised I haven't heard anything.
Well, it might have been a few years ago. This is a while back, so we really don't know what this is actually gonna look like. The rumor now. So 4 years ago was when this was mentioned the first time by Square Enix. The rumor now is that we're going to get a reveal. I'm iffy. I think they might wait out the Avengers Storm before showing this game.
Yeah.
And maybe doing some serious rewrites of what the monetization model and whatnot is after the failure of Avengers.
Now is the time, because they've shown us that they can make a good superhero game. So now is the time to never mind.
In a perfect world, Wyatt.
In a perfect world.
I thought we were talking about Insomniac for a second.
So the two games we'll likely see a little bit of is probably Final Fantasy 16 and Forspoken, formerly known as Project Athia. Those games are on the horizon. We might see more of them. We don't know the relative release dates of both. We know Forspoken is 2022. 16 has been both rumored to be very close to completion and also after for Forspoken. So we really don't know when.
Aqua Team Triangle Force. What's that one called?
Project Triangle Strategy.
Yeah,
is that Enix?
That is
Square Enix. I don't think
the
that was
Octopath team, I believe.
That's a different crew.
They might have shown that at the Square Enix conference a long time ago. I think normally that would probably be shown at Nintendo and not Square Enix. So I wouldn't expect that here. I'm expecting it probably in the Nintendo Direct.
Aqua Team Triangle Force.
I just have now horrible flashbacks of rock paper scissors mechanics.
Hey, it's a rock paper scissors game, you know. All right.
Hey, we're not talking about Nintendo. We're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet. Well, we're about to be. We'll probably see some more Final Fantasy VII stuff, being that the remake or the re-release for PS5 is on the horizon.
Yeah.
And we'll probably see Avengers DLC in that we know Black Panther is supposed to be coming to the game and hasn't yet. So they might show that, assuming the game actually still exists in its state. We also had the heavy rumors of a second PS5 exclusive Final Fantasy game developed by Team Ninja.
Oh,
so we know the name is supposedly Final Fantasy Origins, and we heard it will play similarly to the Neo games, but not in the same Souls-like way. So action heavy.
So what you're saying is it's a sequel to 15. Is what you're saying? It's
an action heavy Final Fantasy game, set at some origin point of something. That's really all we know.
I thought that was pretty funny, but
look, Wyatt, we're just trying to forget 15, so stop bringing it up.
Stop bringing it up.
I know. I said 15. I probably should have said like a good one.
Like a good one.
A good action one. Oh wait.
Oh,
hey,
no.
Well, 15's combat. You know what? It's a spiritual successor to 15
Ryan,
episode Dusky. Episode Dusky, the version of 15's combat that was actually good.
Okay.
Where you had combos based on the buttons. And the different button you press to do a different thing.
I'd say that 7 is like action-y enough. It's a weird hybrid sort of deal. This is
going to be a proper action game, though. Team Ninja does full-on proper action games. So
100%.
I'm expecting proper action game. All right. Our next and final major E3 conference that we know about is Nintendo. There's going to be a Nintendo Direct at some point. Of course, there could be like a last-minute delay or something, because it is a little odd. We haven't heard a time yet. Though Nintendo does like to wait pretty late. So the games we are expecting that will be here is probably Splatoon 3, which we heard about. Something Zelda related is pretty likely. Something Pokemon. Either Mario or Pokemon tends to have its own reveals. So I'm not holding out for a Pokemon reveal unless it's like a spin-off game. Because we already know release dates for Pokemon Legends Arceus and Shining Diamond, Brilliant Pearl. So those are their own thing that are coming out, I think, around December.
If there's one Nintendo property that you want to see that isn't like, Mario, Zelda, like maybe something that hasn't been on the Switch yet,
Metroid.
What do you guys want?
100%
Samus and Fortnite.
Yeah. Especially because I think this is Metroid's 35th as well. I just want to hear something about Metroid.
Samus and Fortnite. And nothing else.
Yeah, we know Bayonetta 3.
All right, Brett. Okay.
We know Bayonetta 3 is also happening. So Nintendo's got a whole lot of games that we know exist that will probably be maybe shown here. No More Heroes 3 is coming out very soon, so that I would bet maybe, but that game's so close to release.
There's going to be some bonkers like sensory overload trailer that's going to
Hey, I'm down for that.
Heroes. I'm not complaining. That stuff is great. I'm totally here for it.
Yeah, and there's also been rumors that the Super Mario Odyssey team is apparently working on a Donkey Kong game that is releasing this year. So if that is a real thing, we'll likely see it, but nobody knows if that's real or not. What is very likely is probably a Smash reveal. So there's 2 more left to complete the roster. We might get both of them. That's possible. What if the Xbox conference opens up with a Master Chief Halo trailer, and then it turns out at the end the Smash logo comes up?
Oh my god! Someone throws a plasma grenade at him that has a Smash logo on it, and he goes, "Bitch, you can't stick it." God.
That'd be great.
And then Samus in Fortnite.
Yep. So
Ryan, you're killing me.
We'll
You're
probably
killing
see
me.
at least one of those fighters, maybe both, because it's been a while since the last roster expansion, so they're probably working on both of them. We also have the heavy rumors of the Nintendo Switch Pro. Super heavy. We've heard it's likely releasing in September, so very soon. But yeah, we're those rumors have accelerated over the last year and a half to be like critical mass right now. So I'm expecting either they're going to address this rumor and say like, oh no, we're not doing this, or they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to not say anything related to it.
If it was any other year, I wouldn't put any stock in it personally. However, I think we did report on this a while ago. Nintendo is having a bit of a snafu at the moment because the chipset that they've used for the Nintendo
semiconductor shortages
is being well. Also, the NVIDIA chip that they're using is being discontinued. So
they're going
to have to change it regardless. Whether it's just going to be a hardware revision that just changes the chip and then keeps it at the same. Although I don't think they would do that personally. I think
especially because within the same price range, there are better chips now. Like we've advanced far enough in tech that you can get better GPU chips. The only issue again is hardware shortages everywhere. So I'm betting
everywhere
what might happen if this still exists is it may be pushed back a month or two just because of hardware shortages compared to what the rumors have said. Still, I would hope a Switch Pro is coming soon, especially with games like Monster Hunter Rise coming out that are starting to hit the limits of what the Switch can do. I think it needs one, especially with the next-gen consoles really pushing for 60 FPS. I don't think the Switch necessarily needs like better graphics. I think they need to push for frames. So that's what I would expect. But then again, Nintendo's very hard to predict. All right, so we've got some rapid fire other shows happening. We're not going to talk extensively about these yet because they're in July, so we have time to talk about these later. But we know EA Play is happening in July. We know it's the July 22nd. We don't know the date. Biggest estimation, probably some Mass Effect stuff. All right. Warner Bros. We know is doing a show. They're supposed to be holding an E3 conference last year. But they've said they're participating this year. It's going to be interesting to see, especially because WB Games kind of like dissolved. So I don't know what the state of Warner Brothers as like an E3 entity is. So yeah, we'll see if this is popping up there. Sony has said they're going to be doing a show at some point, not related to E3. It's probably going to be after E3.
They're obviously too good for E3, of course.
Yep. So there's a lot of stuff that could be happening. God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West obviously being the two top ones. But there's also been rumors of a Last of Us remake for a super long time. That is like a proper remake, which, you know, fine.
Has Ghostwire Tokyo come out yet?
No, but it's coming out soon. Yeah, I believe that's September, November in that time.
That's a Square Enix or no, wait. Yeah.
It was announced at a Square Enix show. I don't know if Square Enix technically owns it. We'd have to check that, but it is in that same time period. All right, there are other publishers that have said they're going to be present at E3. We don't know if they're going to be doing their own shows or not, but they might be doing an announcement at a different show. Bandai Namco has done stuff with Xbox before and with Square Enix, so we could see something there. Activision shows up generally wherever. It's going to happen. So Activision's going to probably... They've said they're going to be announcing something. Bandai Namco has also said they're going to be announcing some stuff. Obviously, Tales of Arise is their big JRPG coming up soon. Elden Ring is kind of just the elephant in the room of nobody knows anything, so...
Never.
Oh, you said the words, Brett's getting...
Every time someone says it, it gets delayed a full 3 days, so...
Yep.
There's usually that big PC game show as well, right? Where they just show
also
off
happening.
A ton of different things. Okay.
I think is that the day after E3's over?
I have more times. Alex, what did you have?
Okay.
I've made the joke before. I'll make it again. Elden Ring was just a ploy so that George R.R. Martin could get some naked elf concept art.
Agreed. All right, Capcom we know is going to be having some showcases. They're the Dragon's Dogma publishers, so we might see something related to them. They've done stuff with Xbox before. They've had their own show before, so we don't know what they'll be doing. Gearbox has said they've got a new franchise. Koch Media is doing a Time Splitters sequel and Dead Island 2. Sega has a bunch of stuff
That's
cooking.
still being made?
Yeah. Sega,
wow.
I think it was canceled and then re-announced. So I don't think it's the same project, but re-announced.
Does that mean entirely new team for that?
Probably.
Likely. Or veterans from the old team kind of reassembled into a new team. Then we have Sega saying that they're coming out with, or we know, a Yakuza spin-off franchise, Lost Judgment, or Judgment, is having a sequel called Lost Judgment. Yakuza is probably going to have some kind of announcement. It tends to have announcements at E3. And Sonic might have something. Again, Sonic did their own show a little while ago, so we may not see them. Take-Two has BioShock 4, and there's rumors, some little rumors about Rockstar doing something. We don't know. We have legitimately no clue because nobody knows anything.
Bully 2 was speculated for a while, wasn't
That was
it?
like years ago.
If they do another Max Payne game, that would make me very happy.
I would love to see that. I played a GOG like game similar. I think it was called Shakedown or something, but it's similar to Max Payne with like the bullet time and everything. A lot of fun. All right.
Yeah.
Then we have some non-E3 shows that are happening. So these are the sort of side events that exist with E3. We have these are the Summer Games Fest events. So we first got Indie Live Expo on June 5th. This is the Japanese indie showcase that usually has some really cool games that the West gets later down the line. In the past, they've shown some fun stuff that has made their way to Switch, usually. So we've been told this year the Indie Expo will have over 300 games.
Okay.
It's a little ridiculous.
Boy. All right.
If you want to watch it live, 2 a.m. Pacific time.
Cool.
On June 5th. So
what is that for us?
Oh, good.
5 a.m.
I'm all in.
All in.
Let's go.
We have Guerrilla Collective. So Guerrilla Collective is their digital game expo that showcased a lot of interesting announcements. They announced Baldur's Gate 3. So they've had some big hitters before. They did Valheim, so they also tend to have a lot of cool indies.
That's indie. I was going to say, because the Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, that's just Guerrilla, right?
Yeah, so Guerrilla Collective is sort of like the Square Enix indie division that Square Enix has. Guerrilla Collective is like the same thing, but for Guerrilla. So they show a lot of indie games and a lot of like games that wouldn't fit elsewhere in E3 weeks. That one's June 5th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Then we have a Black Voices in Gaming showcase, which is going to showcase a lot of games specifically made by Black developers or with Black protagonists. That's also at June 5th. So lots of things happening June 5th. A week after that, we have the Summer Game Fest kickoff at June 10th, 11 a.m. Pacific time. That is Jeff Keighley's Big Bombastic Blowout. He said there's going to be some game announcements. We really don't know what to expect from this. Like at all.
Wildcard Jeff Keighley.
This is Wildcard Jeff Keighley, sponsored by Prime Gaming. So I don't know what we're gonna expect out of this. I mean, Game Awards is always fun with game announcements and whatnot. Keighley has a lot of sway in the industry, so I'm expecting to see some announcements here. I don't know how big they'll be because E3 is right around the corner, and I think a lot of the larger companies will be holding announcements for then. But we might see some cool indies, especially, and of course anything Amazon is doing. All right. Yeah, so Koch Primetime, which is the Koch Media company that has...
Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
It is.
I haven't actually heard, but I assume so.
I know you want to say it another way, but don't say it that way. This is the correct way to say it.
I mean, it's got a CH. It's not... Don't make juvenile jokes, Wyatt, when it's incorrect. So they're... the parent company of the Metro devs.
I said nothing.
Saints Row devs, Time Splitters, other IP. That's probably where we'll see any Time Splitters announcements. June 11th. IGN does their Summer Games Expo. Nobody knows what this is going to be. The most information we have is that they'll likely be showing more info about Summer Games Fest kickoff games that were shown. So we'll probably see some new stuff, some info on the stuff that we were shown later. There. We have the Wholesome Direct, which is a indie direct style thing. It's partnered with Guerrilla collective, and is showcasing slice of life games. So stuff like Animal Crossing, feel good games. That's June 12th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Oh, I found the actual times for the other stuff. So Ubisoft Forward, Rapid Fire E3 schedule June 12th at noon Pacific time is Ubisoft Forward. Devolver Digital has said they're probably going to have something on June 12th. Has not specified the time and has not confirmed that they're going to have something, but they've said they will probably have something. Devolver is known for their like inane showcases that are basically parodies. Last year they had the Devolver Land Expo, so I'm betting we're going to get something from them.
I'm gonna be honest with you though. The last time they did a big thing, I was a little disappointed.
I mean, yeah, I think the pandemic probably threw a wrench in their plans, and they probably had to scramble a bit. Devolver Land Expo was cool though. Then we have Xbox event and Bethesda event June 13th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. The Summer Gaming PC, the Summer Fest PC Gaming Show is the nice little PC collection of games. This tends to be where we don't see a ton of announcements, but we see a lot of gameplay. So PC Games Fest does a lot of gameplay interviews with various indie titles and titles that are primarily meant for the PC audience. This time they have a big Mech Warriors Mercenaries logo on the title of the show for some reason. So maybe we'll see some more Mech Warrior stuff. That's about the best prediction I can give you. It also tends to be filled with a lot of hardware talk, so that usually is like a 3-hour show that we don't really do a lot in. For context, that's probably one we're not going to be reacting to. Just because it's usually very long, with some cool announcements, but it's very long, so we'll probably do something about the announcements afterwards. We have the Future Games Show, which is Games Radar's show. It's an official part of E3 this year, so actually E3, also June 13th. Supposedly it's doubling up with the PC Gaming Show, so they'll likely be back-to-back. We don't know the time yet, though. Square Enix says they're going to have a showcase. We don't know the date and time. Nintendo says they're going to have a showcase. We don't know the date and time. That's the gist of those. We do know Steam is starting immediately after with the Steam Next Fest, which is going to be a bunch of demos on games that were shown for the Steam platform, so people to get their hands on some cool game demos and whatnot. It's always a lot of fun. Limited Run is doing a game showcase as well in July, which is going to be lots of indie-centric stuff. Probably a lot of announcements of its next physical releases of indie games. Very exciting. And then we are going on with EA Play Live, July 22nd. And that's pretty much the wrap-up.
Okay.
We also have TennoCon somewhere in there, but TennoCon doesn't really do announcements. They just do Warframe stuff.
Yeah.
Exciting for people that play Warframe like myself, but not going to do much else. So,
yeah.
All right, that's the overview of everything going on that we know.
Now we know.
And the big question mark here is that we know there are other publishers saying they're participating in E3 and other studios participating in E3 that have not announced showcases. So there might be some clues to look at there as to what's being announced. We've kind of covered the major things, but that's kind of the place to look if you want to check out what to expect. Look at the list of publishers involved that aren't doing shows, and then you can probably guess a lot of the titles that will be coming out somewhere during the talks across the duration. Is everyone excited? Getting hyped?
I am. I don't know. Hype is fun. Like I try not to have it be this thing where it like consumes my entire life, but you know, I look forward to E3 hypes because it's just fun to be excited about games. You know, even if at the end of the day these are all just glorified trailers that developers are showing us. It's just fun to be excited about things.
Yeah.
So
I definitely agree.
I was gonna say, honestly, right now I'm not. The moment I'm watching, I will be.
Exactly. We are doing this over a week in advance from the show, almost 2 weeks. So we're a little ways out.
Like, it's funny. I equate it to almost like watching a Marvel movie with a bunch of friends. Like I'll never forget watching like Infinity War with a bunch of buddies opening night at the theater. It's the same experience where like it's an event, people are there to have fun, and like you got your
reason to get together.
I get things of popcorn and stuff for like E3. I get drinks and stuff. Like I go crazy. Like I have so much fun with it because it's an event, and it's just fun to sit back.
It's the closest equivalent to a video game's pay-per-view. So
there you go. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Especially when you get crazy things like, Keanu Reeves coming out or like the surprise God of War reveal.
Speaking of crazy things, you've led me to the perfect segue into our final portion of tonight's show, which is pipe dreams and announcements you want to see. So I wanted to make sure we have time to hit this. We got plenty of time to go over. So I'm going to go around the circle. Alex, you were the least excited, so I want you to give me what would make you instantly excited for E3.
What would make me instantly excited? What would make me beyond words of how spectacularly
what announcement would really drive you forward as in your excitement levels?
What would really drive me for it? As I mentioned it as a pipe dream earlier, Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah.
Really, it's just really that, or if there's new IPs coming for me.
New IPs are always fun.
I want to see some. Speaking of new IPs, we have all those Sony IPs that were announced at the PS5 show that we knew nothing about, like Pragmata, and like Stray, that just kind of vanished since then.
That's true.
So, lots of stuff sitting in the sidelines that we might see. All right, Brett, you were next least excited, so.
I think I would pop for a Chrono Trigger remaster in the light of the Dragon Quest 3 thing. I think that's a game that deserves just blowing off the dust.
One that's not on mobile.
That's not on mobile. Because it's not even on Switch, I don't think, which is like pathetic. But either that or like both Square and Enix have so many old games that just don't have any like playability now, that it would just be nice to have a little bundle of them. They could make like Capcom has all these bundles of like their old classic like arcade games and stuff. Like they could make so much by just bundling like 3 bundles together and just having like one big one and then a bunch of other like what the heck is this? I would like that.
They could find a this year anniversary or something and have like a Mario bundle or things like
something
that.
like that.
Yep. All right, Wyatt. You were next most excited. Because of course I'm the hype child, so what is your hype dream announcement?
BioShock 4 would be pretty sweet. Or BioShock 3, whatever they end up calling it. That would be pretty nice, definitely. Anything Ragnarok related would be pretty great as well. I had another one. What was it? Darn it. Something Fable related would be pretty great as well. I don't know. There's a lot of like potential, I feel like, this year for things that I'm legitimately interested in.
Definitely.
And I'm always hyped for whatever Devolver decides to, drag up from hell for half an hour just to see what their crazed, insane minds look like on, that'd be great.
Absolutely. All right. I'm gonna my number one thing I want to see Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, whatever they're calling it. It's gonna be some weird title with an R. They're not gonna put a number at it. It's gonna be like Final Fantasy VII Revision or something crazy. Mostly because the ending of 7 Remake set up so many crazy things that I haven't been able to talk about with Wyatt because he hasn't played the original game. And they would mean literally nothing to you.
It's a bunch of gobbledygook.
For them to announce the Part 2?
I think so. I think it's been over a year.
Some kind of tease, definitely.
To start the marketing timeline.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it is
like it.
enough time for them to start the marketing push. I don't think it's coming out soon, but I think it's time to start the marketing push.
And
especially because I want to see story trailers. I want to see crazy reveals. I want them to show my black-haired boy on screen and then just be like, what is happening? That's what I want.
Yeah.
You want to see Mithril Mike.
I want to see Mithril Mike on screen.
Yeah.
Got to see that green hair, that mask.
And just to add something, on the end of my section, I want to see Halo Infinite make a comeback. I want to see them bust out this second gameplay showing that impresses everyone, and everyone's like, "Yeah, I'm down." And Brett, I saw that, and I don't care.
Look, Wyatt, you
see
convenient timing
green.
because that was my next one. I want to see Halo Infinite.
I want them to make a comeback
because I want to be
them to
hopeful.
just blow everyone away.
I like to be optimistic, and I want to say that 343 is taking the time they need, especially considering they just, instead of delaying it to a date, they were just like, okay, it's not coming out yet. We're gonna work on it. That's what gives me more hope than the troubled development of it. Is I think them going like, we need to hunker down was the right choice.
Yeah, and I also
the first of many.
I also will freely admit that I'm much more. I think I'm more of a fan of 343 than a majority of the Halo community, which is fine. I get it. So I have a lot more hope for these people than a lot of others too, which is fine. I get it. But I don't know. I think they've shown that they can do individual parts of a Halo game really well, and they just need to coalesce into those skills into one Halo game. You know, I think they've proven that they can do good single player stuff. They can do good multiplayer stuff. They just need to bring it all together. And maybe, third time's the charm. Who knows?
Maybe.
I think my expectations are so low that my actual expectations right now are so low that I am simultaneously expecting to be impressed, because literally I don't think they could go any lower. I would be fearful if I somehow ended up less hopeful for Halo Infinite than I am right now. After
you know what? That's my next one. I want to see Brett's reaction to Halo Infinite. That's what I'm more excited for. Not even the game itself. I just want to see what Brett thinks.
And the other thing to keep in mind is that excitement for something, it doesn't always tell you what the expectation is. Be. Because at this point, like I've said, they've proven that they can do individual aspects of a Halo game. So my expectations of what this is going to be, I have no idea, because I don't know what kind of 343 we're getting. You know what I mean? Are we getting a more organized Halo 4, or are we getting a Halo 5 that's sporadically good in different areas, but it's just kind of a mess? I don't know. No idea.
I gotta cut the Halo talk because there's more announcements, more things, more pipe dreams to go over. Look, I just want.
But we never talk about Halo.
Wyatt. and we never interrupt someone immediately after they say stop talking about Halo to talk about Halo again. That makes it even better. All right. What the biggest thing I want to see some RPGs, because we have not had a good AAA RPG that is not a JRPG. I want to see a Western style RPG.
No JRPGs.
Because JRPGs are super popular. Those aren't going anywhere. But Western RPGs have just kind of become either super narrative heavy in the form of this push for doing less dialogue and less this because we want to do less crunchy systems because we want more in the game action. Look, I want some crunchy systems. I want some Mass Effect 3 style stuff where you do the proper dialogue and you do the proper good stuff, and then you have the crunchy RPG systems on the back end. Let me look at numbers. That's my big thing. I want to see some numbers, all right? No hiding these numbers from me. I know game devs who are we can't let our user base look at numbers because they're too stupid to understand.
I want my enemies to bleed numbers, not
That's
blood.
Me. That's me.
I do. I want my enemies I hit them, I want damage numbers.
This is real life he's talking about, by the way. This is not.
When I punch Wyatt, I want to see a damage number.
How did I know you were gonna go there?
Look, I was gonna go for Brett, but I was like
90 points.
I knew that's where this was going.
Such an easy target.
I want health bars. Look, I want a proper RPG, and maybe Fable will come close if they show it. But
I'm the podcast punching bag, and I accepted that long ago.
I wasn't the person to bully Wyatt this episode.
No. No one has threatened my life like you have yet.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Although punching me until damage numbers comes pretty close.
Yeah, the damage numbers are just the blood on the floor.
Oh, they spell it out. 90 points, 30 points, 35.
Yep.
Yeah, I love you guys too.
And I also look. I just want to see something wild. I think that's probably all of our biggest pipe dream. Just something wild. Throw some AAA game out there that nobody can predict that is coming out soon. Like
I think
coming out September.
I think one of the best E3 reveals ever was that God of War PS4 reveal.
Yep.
Because it started off, what is this? This is a new IP. This is crazy. And then you heard his voice.
Dude,
you know? Like I want something as classy
I'm still disappointed
and as hype
because
as that.
Sony was excellent at that, and then they've just stopped. Like when they left E3, they just kind of stopped doing the whole announcement thing as well either. That's my like biggest issue with them leaving. Is like they can do their own state of play and all that, but they've never captured the hype.
What are you talking about?
Like
You didn't like their Ghost of Tsushima showcase where they had the flute man? You weren't a fan of that?
Look,
the game.
I like the flute man as a concept. It was way too long.
Yes.
Way too long, but it was a cool concept.
How they had everyone shuffle into a tent just for Last of Us 2 and then shuffle back into the E3
They completely
show
forgot how to
rest
do
of the
good announcements after that year, and then they just haven't tried again. That's the big thing. They haven't even attempted to do a proper announcement since then. So that's disappointing. All right. Anyone else? More pipe dreams. We got time for like one more.
I want to see something that is like so confident, and then like Vin Diesel's face turns around and it's just horrible from there. Like you know exactly what I mean. Like the Arc 2, like the Fast and Furious, like there's something that is so like, you guys are gonna love this. The graphics are great and it's just garbage.
Are you saying
that
Are you saying that Vin Diesel is the anti-Keanu?
Are you saying that the Fast and Furious game is bad?
Yes.
That's heresy.
If we're talking about out there pipe dreams, I've been asking this for a long time. I want me a Naughty Dog Star Wars game.
Look, you know what, Wyatt? I'm gonna join with you in this and say what I want to see. Every single press conference has a Star Wars game by a different developer.
I was thinking about
that. Would be the best one.
Yeah,
I'll drink to that.
I would love that. You know what? It becomes such a thing. It becomes such a thing that Star Wars gets their own like show floor for E3.
They literally could.
Star Wars conference.
They could do that, and that would be great. I would love that. You get all of our.
It'd be
Star
like the
Wars
biggest
hype
game
in
development
one area.
crossover. Just get all the studios. Look, I want Star Wars to treat their license like Warframe does. Or not Warframe. Warhammer does.
Warhammer.
Because there's lots of trash Warhammer games, but the good ones are really good. And there's tons of new ideas. Like, I want to see people making this weird, like, Necromunda Hired Gun style Star Wars game in, like, the pits of Coruscant or something. Some other dev is making some weird 3D platformer.
Brian,
give out your license.
Brian, that's too
reckless
close.
abandon. Just do it.
See what happens.
That's too close to the
cursed numbers. Yep. I'm sorry, Alex. I brought back hard memories. Alex will remember that. All right. Now that we've gone over our pipe dreams,
in the corner of the screen.
Yep. Butterfly just went by.
Butterfly effect.
So, next week, I want all of you hosts to have... We're going to do predictions, but these predictions aren't going to be fully normal. I want them to be colored by your personas. You got to have some interesting drive here. Don't just go analytical and make your predictions. You got to go wild. I'm giving you this warning in advance so you know. Think about these conferences, and we're going to be talking about specifically Xbox Games Conference, Square Enix, Nintendo. We're not going to do Sony yet because Sony's super far off, so we're going to wait on them. But Xbox, Nintendo, we'll do kind of the Summer Games Fest as a whole, the kickoff sort of event type thing, and then bundle the little indies in with that.
I am
Ubisoft
fantastic I am fantastic at not using analytics.
Yep. So gist of that: Nintendo, Square Enix, Xbox, and Ubisoft Forward are the big conferences we know about so far. If any pop up in the time span until then, we will add them to that list. It could be maybe we learn Capcom is doing a whole show. Could be possible. We don't know. We'll add them to that list, but basically any actual conferences that are announced by the time we do that episode is the ones that will be included. After the fact, if other conferences are announced, we'll do our tier list of them after the fact. We'll add them to that tier list, but we're not going to do the predictions of them. So be ready for that next week. Now it's time for shoutouts. To close out the episode. Alex, what is your shoutout?
Alex in the headlights over there.
Shout out to Wyatt being fine and okay with that. He's the most. Oh god, what was your phrasing? The
Punching
most
bag.
supportive of
The punching
343.
bag.
Oh,
No, not
never
about
mind the other
that.
thing.
Yeah.
The what?
That you're the most. What were your words? Were the most supportive of
Oh yeah,
343?
by far out of the entire community. Yeah.
The entire.
They need him for that. That he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
All right, Brett,
I
you
think
were next
they're a
most
good bunch of
hyped. So
folks
what's your shout out?
Shout out to the as of yet unnamed next online store I will go to get myself a new camera to replace this one immediately after this podcast is over.
Wonderful.
Because I clearly I need to invest in a better piece of machinery than this pile of garbage. $20, man. Ugh.
Yep. All right. Wyatt, save us from Brett's personal hell.
Aw, you can.
Episode upcoming. Shout out to Kevin Brighting, narrator of Stanley Parable and Biomutant. I think he's a super talented voice actor. And even when he's in a weird, half-functioning, horribly designed game like Biomutant, his charm still shines through. So, good voice talent there.
Yep. All right. I got to give a shout out to just hype. We got to shout out to the spirit of hype. All right.
Kevin Brighting's pretty hype.
It's not good. It's bad for general gaming consumption. Don't pre-order games unless reviews are out. Don't do dumb things, okay? But don't be afraid of hype. Don't be a person that goes to the people that play No Man's Sky now and go, you know that game was trash when it launched. Don't be that person, because that person's dumb, all right? Game's fun now. Let people enjoy the things they enjoy and get hyped for the things they want to get hyped for. That's it. That's my...
Amen.
I'll sit down off my soapbox and in the show. So anyone got final closing thoughts as we get ready to play the outro?
That person will probably get their butt beat.
Yep. The damage numbers will come off. So. All right.
I was a test drive to make sure that the damage numbers coming off works, and I'm really going to test it on this person.
So,
to good use.
As always, podcast comes out Tuesdays, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. There might be some wiggles the next couple of weeks. I'm going on a road trip, so timing is going to be a little bit weird. Hopefully, we'll still always be able to get stuff out on Tuesdays, but if something shifts around, that is the reason why. We will still likely not miss a week or anything, but things will be a little bit up in the air during that time frame. So, good luck to everyone watching the show. Hopefully, you can catch it at the right time, but we will see you all next week. Have fun. Play video games.
Chill out, summer.
I was about to say this. I was about to say the exact same thing.
Although go outside. We were hitting the point you can go outside now.
Stop playing games. No more games. It's time to go outside. You've had enough video games.
This is no longer a video game podcast.